white nationalist group linked to the organizer of the white supremacist protests in Charlottesville, Virginia, is coming to Colorado. Cheyenne Mountain Resort in Colorado Springs is under intense political pressure today to back out of hosting the VDARE conference next year. VDARE wants to limit immigration. Its articles often expound the virtues of white people and criticize minorities. Jason Kessler, prior to leading the white supremacist rally in Charlottesville, was writing for VDARE, writing about anti-white genocide and the plight of white people in America. And then this weekend, VDARE blamed violent counter-protesters and police for what happened in Charlottesville, but cast no blame with the white supremacists, which they said had a pro-white message. Tom Tancredo, the former Colorado congressman who ran for president as a Republican on an anti-illegal immigration platform, he's scheduled to speak at this VDARE conference at Cheyenne Mountain Resort next April. He said that the efforts that forced that group out of one conference location already are leftist attempts to suppress speech and incite violence.
Free speech is important. The allowance of free speech, like this conference that they're trying to stop. Kyle, I assure you, I am positive of this, that there's not going to be a soul from VDARE out on the streets with pitchforks and torches, or flags or Nazi paraphernalia or any other crap like that. And I'll guarantee you this, if I hear anything to me that sounds like white supremacist talk, I'm out of there, but I've never heard that from them.
A Cheyenne Mountain Resort spokeswoman said that they are currently preparing a response but didn't have anything for us tonight. VDARE told me that the event is still on and that the contract will penalize Cheyenne Mountain Resort if they cancel. There's a national liberal organization, Media Matters, that is pushing this discussion. They got VDARE booted from a resort in California, and now they're turning their pressure on Colorado Springs. His career and $1. That, a civil jury decided today, is a proper penalty for former KYGO DJ David Mueller to pay. He certainly could have lost a lot more. His freedom, for instance. But this was never a criminal case. Taylor Swift, the pop star, did not call police when she said he grabbed her. In fact, she didn't go after Mueller until he took her to court when he lost his job over the groping. Today, a jury found that he did assault Taylor Swift, awarded her the $1 in damages that she was seeking. She says she'll make donations to organizations that help sexual assault victims defend themselves. You're about to meet a family of immigrants who found safety and security in Colorado. And now they want to go back to Liberia, where Nick Snagon escaped 2 wars. Not the kind of place that you would expect that he'd want to take his wife, 4 kids, and the newborn that they will have added by the time they return to Liberia. Here's our Anastasia Bolton.
Organized chaos with a purpose is the Snagon family way of life.
Kids are kids, and we just try to keep them inside the lines.
But Nick and Bethany Snagon's purpose is the kids' families, all the people in the West African country of Liberia.
Yeah, that's me.
Nick was born there and had to run.
Miraculously, I was able to leave the country with a pair of slippers, a shirt, and a shoe.
He escaped Liberia's 2 wars, went to college, and came to the U.S.
I mean, it's great here, yeah.
A person of deep faith, he says God has always shown him the way back home.
He constantly telling me, I didn't bring you for you to be comfortable. I saved you because I know the country is going to be dark after the war, and you're going to be a light there after the war.
The war has been over for several years.
See you right here.
The time it took for Nick to work as a counselor and for Bethany to become a nurse, skills that will help them open a church, a school, and a clinic.
And it comes through educations, through church, and through clinic. So without that, Liberia are not going to be reconstructed. You're just going to go down to the same path.
Nick says with change comes hope. Hope for one person, one family, one village, a nation.
Other people that don't have the chance, I think it's time for us to give them that chance.
For Next, with Ann Herbst, I'm Anastasia Bolton.
Nick and Bethany are raising money right now, hoping to leave in a few months. Once they're there, they'll build their home first, then the church, the school, and the clinic. Time to check, is the A-line working today? The train to the plane? Sadly, no. Struggle train was back at its old ways today. A power outage caused what RTD called severe delays this afternoon. Started around 1:15. Power was restored by 1:50, but the issues lingered causing 10 to 25-minute delays. If the Colorado Classic over the weekend has you feeling the need for speed on your bike, don't take it to Washington Park in Denver. They are not having it there anymore. Police are out enforcing the 15-mile-per-hour speed limit in the park. 15 miles per hour. Whether you are Usain Bolt on foot, or whether you are rollerblading, or whether you are riding a bike. But let's be honest, it's the bikes that are the speed problem in Wash Park. So Parks and Rec set up a radar to tell cyclists, time to slow down.
I think biking's great, walking's great, but you mix too much here. You've got people that don't know all the rules here. You've got little kids trying to, and people, and they come out here to race their bikes. And I wish there was another place to go race your bikes, because this is a city park. And thank you. I just think that's, you know, I want people to come here and be comfortable and be safe.
I love the thank you, like right in the middle of the interview there. The city says they have issued a total of 18 cyclist speed tickets this year. 3 were out at Red Rocks, 15 Wash Park. So here's a little something that we learned this weekend. If you are going to pay for an ad on social media, don't put it on Marshall Zellinger's Facebook feed, because he's got a lot of time on his hands. Last month, Norwegian Air announced a new nonstop flight from Denver to London. The ads are all over. Marshall set out to verify if this airline can find Denver on a map.
This sponsored ad showed up in my Facebook feed this weekend.
Yes, I caught you.
It's from Norwegian Air. The caption reads, "We sent the Queen's bobbies to Denver to tell everyone about our new direct flights to London." There's a similar ad and caption on Twitter, and both ads end with a slate showing direct flights from Denver to London. As I watched the videos, I tried figuring out where in Denver the scenes were shot. But at least 4 clues had me realizing I was duped.
It's pretty cheesy to try to pass off another city as Denver. Conventional wisdom would have at least brought you to a downtown landmark, but it's like they were barely here. In fact, I have it on good authority, none of that video was shot in the Mile High City.
The director of communications for Norwegian Air confirmed in an email this morning. In Denver, our bobbies were there July 15th and 16th in the Highlands, Lodo, Larimer Square, 16th Street Mall, Capitol Hill, and Cheeseman Park. However, the campaign video was actually recorded in Seattle. According to the company's Instagram accounts, bobbies were sent to Seattle the week before. Here's a breakdown of what gave it all away. Yeah, I know, I'm nerdy. If you pause the Facebook video at 4 seconds, you see a license plate that looks oddly similar to this sample Washington plate. At 6 seconds and again at 15, there's Rudy's Barber Shop and a restaurant called Hattie Hats, which look like this on the Seattle Street View image from Google Maps. Our web producer Aaron caught this North Beach Elementary School shirt at 18 seconds, and the worst evidence is at 7 and 19 seconds. Seahawks stuff. But to the airline's credit, it did hire actors as bobbies in Denver, just not to shoot a commercial.
So why try to pass off Seattle as Denver, except to get me to go to a costume shop for this hat? Norwegian Air told me since their new flights took place in both cities and were identical in setup, they used the video since the message was the same.
Yes, and for the record, you have been wearing that hat all day long. It's a choice you made, and people should know about it. All right, Marshall, thank you. This next story is not about a police officer in trouble or a teacher caught cheating or a nurse stealing drugs. This next story is about a public servant doing the right thing like 99% of them do every day and never make the news. They are the good ones, and they're almost all good ones. Take Fort Collins police. While serving an arrest warrant at a motel, they found a 10-year-old boy in one of the rooms. Living conditions were just terrible. I mean, so gross the officers couldn't salvage any of his clothes or his other stuff. So Detective Ryan bought clothes and tennis shoes for the boy, so he had something to call his own. And they eventually learned this young man had a sister who was in the same situation. So another officer, Derek, got the Santa Cops of Larimer County to donate a gift card and toys. Took the kids on a shopping trip. They got new school clothes, school supplies. Filled up their grandmother's refrigerator. And the kids got free haircuts to start their new school year. If you know about a public servant that we can catch doing good, email us next@9news.com or get our attention with the hashtag HeyNext.
America's highest astronomical observatory is in our backyard. But when the eclipse happens, don't go there. Millennials in Denver and their struggle with light bulbs. Seriously. And a nearly 90-year-old Coloradan on Mount Kilimanjaro runs into a problem. His climbing group was going too slow. Next.
A warm start to the week. Temperatures hitting 90 degrees here in Denver. It has been an entire week of below average temperatures. So nice to see a little summer heat around here, but the view's a little deceiving as those thunderstorms are pushing just to the east of the Denver metro area. I'll take you out to HD Doppler 9 because the storms they've been firing up in the high country. A little lightning, some thunder, everything sitting just to the eastern side of the Denver metro, moving out toward the airport in through Aurora, and then another quick cell pushing through Centennial and Parker. Light rain showers in Larimer, Weld counties, and another batch going in Leadville and Fairplay. The rest of this evening, storms slowly moving off to the eastern plains around 10, 11 o'clock. We will be dry here in town, partly cloudy skies early tomorrow morning, looking good, and then in similar fashion, another round of storms rolling in the afternoon. Some of those turning severe along the far eastern plains into Nebraska and Kansas. That's the best shot at seeing some large hail, perhaps some damaging winds out there too. Temperatures just a bit cooler tomorrow. We'll still be in the mid 80s. It feels good. 60s, 70s up in the mountains. A cold front dives in overnight Tuesday into Wednesday. That drops us into the upper 70s, perhaps a few early morning showers. That storm system clears out, and then we're into the 80s as we head toward next weekend, and all eyes on next Monday. Kyle, we're a week away from that solar eclipse. So far, so good. Mother Nature looks to cooperate quite nicely with us.
So I have heard, Danielle Grant. Thank you. Of course, we are now more interested in the sky above our heads than ever before. So we headed up to the observatory on Mount Evans. It's the highest in America, but the eclipse isn't really on their radar. We see the place through the lens of our photojournalist, Tom Cole.
Today is, maybe 3 or 4 on a scale of 10.
Despite sometimes soupy weather on Mount Evans,
Right, no sign of the sun.
Robert Stencil will tell you this is a great place to space out.
I'm a Sputnik kid.
He's also a professor of astronomy at DU. He came up with the big idea to put an even bigger telescope on Mount Evans.
The effort began in '94 when I wrote a proposal.
That proposal led to some creative ways to get this dome.
It's only 11 tons of steel.
And telescope hauled up to 14,148 feet.
And I have to credit our pretty clever builder who pre-assembled a lot of the building down in Denver in Commerce City. That way we could haul up sections of the building on the back of a 18-wheeler.
Since 1997, the observatory's fought off everything Mother Nature has thrown at it. Well, almost.
Back in winter 2011-2012, we had a pretty amazing windstorm that managed to tear open the dome and scatter it across the side of the hill.
Other than that,
any luck with those?
It should be on, but...
And the occasional electrical outage, including when we visited.
We're dead in the water for the day.
The observatory continues to advance science.
Part of Einstein's theory of relativity was demonstrated on this mountain.
You would think this would be the perfect place to see the eclipse, but the universe isn't aligned for Stencil to observe the eclipse from atop Mount Evans.
I'd rather go be in the path of totality.
He'll head north, and on the day everyone else is looking to the sky, the observatory will take a break, hunkering down in the rocks, closer to the sky than any other observatory in the United States.
For those wondering about the utility of an observatory at that height, there's less light pollution from the Front Range up there and less atmosphere for the starlight to travel through.
How many millennials does it take to change a light bulb?
What seemed like a joke turned out to be a story when a landlord got in touch with Next. The most Colorado thing we saw today is a ridiculously fancy feast up in the mountains. And after this weekend's headlines, we figured that we shouldn't wait till Friday to celebrate your good news. Let's find a reason to believe in humanity. Next.
When was the last time you changed a light bulb? Probably thinking, last time one burned out at my house. You have solved the riddle, which apparently eluded some millennials in Denver. Their landlord ratted them out to Next.
So I have a loft downtown that I'm renting out. There's 3 tenants right now. There's 3 roommates there. I think all under the age of 26. I think 26 was the oldest one. Yeah, millennials. Well, so what happened was the 2 years of the first lease was up, and so I was about to sign a new lease with these 3 people. So I went down there to re-sign the lease with them, and we were going to do a walkthrough with the new tenants and make sure, everything was good and things, were repaired and, what have you. So I turned on the kitchen light, which would be the main one. I mean, I lived there for years, so I know exactly where it is. So I go turn on, and I'm like, none of the lights turn on. And there was one of the tenants was there, this one girl. And I told her, I said, oh my gosh, the lights aren't coming on in the kitchen. Something happened. She goes, oh, I think they've all burnt out. And I'm just like, okay. And she's like, yeah, I don't know. We were going to call you, but I don't know. We just didn't really want to bother you. And I thought, well, that's nice of you. But then I was thinking to myself, why didn't they just put in a light bulb? I couldn't have cooked with that light. I don't even think I could do the dishes with that light. I mean, you could get light bulbs at the grocery store. They have a whole row. So then the next day when I went to work, most of my team at work are younger and they rent and all this. So I just asked them, I said, hey, what do you do when like a light bulb goes out? And they said, they were like, well, I don't know. It's just, we could call the landlords, but it's kind of a pain. But there was no talk of changing the light bulb. So it just kind of, it like sort of blew my mind. Yeah. I was very surprised. I know, how many millennials does it take to change a light bulb, right?
If you would like to offer a defense of millennials, and they do get more than their share of dumping on, that seemed pretty fair though, you can always get our attention with the hashtag HeyNext. The most Colorado thing we saw today is just your typical dinner out at a campsite, roughing it. No, this is fine dining at 10,500 feet. The 17th year for this tradition. Big group of friends use four-wheelers to get up to a remote meadow surrounded by 14ers where they put together an incredible spread. Charcuterie, campfire cooked Chesapeake oysters, shrimp, gazpacho, baked rainbow trout, main course campfire charred beef tenderloin and mashed potatoes. For dessert, double chocolate cookie. Each course, of course, all 6 of them, has a specialty drink selection. This is fancy stuff. This might be one of a kind in Colorado, but we salute the effort. And for 17 years, they've kept their date and location a secret because they don't bring extra food. A retired orthodontist from Vail is now the oldest person to summit Mount Kilimanjaro, and he did it with an attitude. Dr. Fred Distelhorf is 88. Made it to the top in 6 days with his granddaughter Ellen, who's born and raised in Vail. She was spending some time in Africa, volunteering at an orphanage in Kenya, and she tells us that Grandpa had no problem keeping up. At one point he was complaining that the group was going a bit too slow. He took an empty Coors can up to the top of the summit. They don't allow alcohol on the mountain, but he thought it was a great way to show some Colorado pride, even if it was an empty can. Dr. Fred, we salute you. We are going to switch things up a little bit. After the headlines this weekend, thinking everybody could use some good news on a Monday. Next. Friday is the day where we typically head out in search of your good news, but this Monday of all Mondays feels like the right time and place to balance out some of the worst of humanity with some of the best. Here's Steve Steger.
Tina Reynolds is celebrating life. She says, my beautiful sister donated more than half of her liver to me. We're both doing great. Rhiannon Bond's son is on the recovery train too. Gavin has been fighting a congenital heart defect, and Mom says he's making some amazing progress, gaining weight, and at 9 months old, he's starting to look like a little warrior. While they both celebrate the gift of life, Julie Cummings celebrates the gift of a laugh, like the one her dog Cooper gave her as he tried to catch the rapids along Clear Creek. Emma Watt's good news is her husband James. He was promoted to lieutenant colonel in the Army, a dream of his for a long time. And speaking of dreams, one came true for the Brighton Unified Special Olympics soccer team this week. And the parents got to deliver it in an awesome fashion. They're going to Nationals next July in Seattle. Great news. We want to hear yours. Tweet it to us with the hashtag HeyNext.
We finish as always with your feedback. TM writes, how many millennials does it take to screw in a light bulb? None. They ask Alexa to do it, which the next team is going to love because I'm obsessed with Alexa. Actually, I called my wife Alexa this weekend. Big mistake. Didn't turn anything on. See you next time.